and I will engage with them in good faith, as if they were all written by adults that are PhD candidates. Probably the screen might be a little bright, but that's okay. Will you press the button? You can have infinite milkshakes at any time. You can only have the vanilla flavor, and there are big bits of ice in it. Can I run something by you? This is the easiest choice of my life. Why would I not push the button? I could just opt not to have the milkshakes if I didn't want the milkshakes. I have the access to infinite milkshakes, regardless of the caveat, gives me the idea that there's no downside here. I will press the button. 53% said yes. 47% went ooh. Free matter. So I would say we have a 100% win rate right now. Will you press the button? You can turn invisible, but you cannot see while you are invisible. Yet again, I would say this is another example of a dilemma where we get free stuff with no downside. Being able to opt into invisibility, even at the expense of temporary blindness, it's a huge dub. I can't do this already, so this is literally just a superpower. And I hit the button. 51% of people are smart and 49% of people are stupid. I think we already knew that. Plus, being able to hit the button and turn invisible, you can still eavesdrop on people's conversations. Which is like one of the top. There's only like 3 things you do when you're invisible. One of them is be like a gross pervert. One of them is like eavesdrop on people. And the other one is like a heist. You can still do the eavesdropping, even if you're invisible and you can't see. Okay. You get a free meal at whatever restaurant you want, once a day, every day, but you can't have any condiments ever for the rest of your life. This does have a downside. However, if we look at it economically, I would never have to pay for food again. I probably still would choose to, but I could literally just order the largest meal from whatever restaurant I wanted. Get a 2,000 calorie meal. No problem. Doesn't bother me. So we're saving a lot of money. In some situations, we could just use this for convenience. You lose mustard. You lose ketchup. You lose barbecue sauce and steak sauce. You lose mayonnaise. I would say you lose salad dressing. I think that's a condiment. Some people are saying you lose salt and pepper. Not condiments. Those are seasonings. Soy sauce, I would say, is a condiment. I make a distinction between seasoning and condiment. Like if somebody said, hey, what kind of condiments do you want on your hot dog? And then I said like oregano. I think they would be like, what are you talking about? But anyway, would I do this? Yes, I would do this. For the financial reason, also to enjoy meals from my favorite restaurants all the time for free. That's a quick button press for me. 55%. I'll take it. Next. I do like sauce. I would miss the sauces, but still. Will you press the button? You become bilingual, but you forget your native language. Okay, now this is an interesting question. So let's assume I become bilingual, 2 languages of my choice, but I would lose English. It would really, really screw up my life. Even if I learned 2 very widely spoken languages, like let's say I learned Mandarin and Spanish, I think that I would that would set me back more than it would push me forward, to be honest with you. I honestly have to hit this one with I will not hit the button. I also feel like a lot of people would not hit the button because if they're from a part of the world that actually values learning languages, bilingual might already be like where they're at, or alternatively a downgrade. So I think this was a smart no button press for me. Just my take. Yeah. Oh, dude, you could learn Elvish and Klingon. Will you press the button? You can shapeshift into anything, real or not. But every time you shapeshift, you will hemorrhage. So I think this is like an ESL or like a regional dialect thing. Hemorrhage just is what some people mean when they want to say bleed, right? So let's assume this means bleed. You can shapeshift into anything, real or not, but every time you shapeshift, you will hemorrhage. Let's assume like it's very painful and you lose a decent amount of blood. I would probably choose not to shapeshift very often. But I would definitely hit the button because you could just choose not to. I have a problem with your fundamental premise. I hit the button. The top comment, by the way, says, shapeshift into rock, damage is meaningless. So there you go. If you want an easy win here, just shapeshift into a rock, which should provide a lot of value to your real life. Genius. Will you press the button? You have as much money as you want, but you have to work fast food for the rest of your life? See, that's tough. If the question was worded, you can have as much money as you want, but you have to work fast food until you retire at like age 60 or something like that, I would say yes. Because I think that were it not for like the salary, working in fast food is not necessarily not fun, you know? I mean, it's not for everybody necessarily, but you maybe get to work in a lively environment. You work with your friends. You can goof around. You probably do get stressed, I'm sure, when there's a lot of orders coming and stuff like that. I'm not saying it's easy, but I think that, it could be kind of fulfilling work in its own way, believe it or not. So wrong. I kind of feel like, isn't it more fun to like work at like McDonald's than it is to work in like one of Gordon Ramsay's restaurants and just get yelled at all the time? Like, I kind of feel like whenever pre-COVID, if I'm like at a McDonald's, there's a bunch of teenagers in the back like goofing around and going like, I put the banana package, is supposed to be strawberry, I put the banana package, and people were like going, haha, that's so you. Anytime I'm in like a normal restaurant, all the servers look like they're freaking like one bad day away from going postal on the customers. Anyway, so I choose not to answer this question in bad faith, because I think some people, when they play these games, they try to find the way out of this situation, right? They try to find, like, I'll just be the CEO. I don't know. I think they mean you're in the trenches, you're cooking the burgers, or you're manning the cash register, or you're doing the drive-through microphone stuff. Believe it or it's tough. This is the toughest button for me so far. I think I would push the button easily if I could retire, and not even like immediately, but if I could retire in like 25 or 30 years, like a normal retirement age, I would be like, you know what? I think like a lot, okay, I mean, this is a very out of touch take. Like all streamers, I'm out of touch. However, I at least acknowledge that I'm out of touch. But I feel like a lot of minimum wage jobs suck, but the biggest thing that sucks is the salary. Some of the day-to-day duties can be a little fun. Maybe. Like, I wouldn't want to be a cashier. I think dealing with people at retail would suck really badly. But working in like food service, assembling hamburgers, I could probably be down with that. But what's the point of having as much money as you want if you don't get that much time? But you know what? I still think I'd hit the button. Because I think at that point, you get a very comfortable life. even if you do have to work 40 hours in fast food a week for the rest of your life. And you have like a legacy, like your family is set forever, you know? I think I would hit the button. 72% would hit the button. Yeah? I don't like these replies. Girl, I can just go and buy this is not in chat, this is on the website. Girl, I can just go and buy the restaurant and become the CEO and just watch everyone else work the grills while I'm at the top. See, that's just, you're dealing with a button with infinite power. Like, that's just not an honorable, good faith way to, it's cheating, exactly. Also, I love that she's like, I would still look down on the people that work for me, by the way. I would just watch, like, because that's what a CEO does, right? Like, I'm the CEO of McDonald's. I'm going to watch people work the grills all day. Anyway, sorry. Get it, girl boss. Next button. You're capable of spreading joy wherever you go and are capable of taking care of the needs of the world, but you become a bitter shell of a person and never experience happiness again. Already pushed that button a long time ago. It's called Go Live. Will you press the button? You fall in love with and marry your dream man or woman, but every night he or she turns into a creature from your worst nightmare and you are forced to fornicate with it. It seems like a heavy no. That's just absolutely not. I will not press the button. Like, I'm just thinking about like the 36% of the people that are like, I fall in love with my dream man or woman, and every night I gotta do it to a spider. But that's okay, because the other 23 and a third hours a day are very fulfilling. That one part with the spider stuff, not so much, but the other 23 and a third, that's the good stuff. Will you press the button? You can read incredibly fast, but you write unbelievably slowly. Now that's an interesting one. I feel like reading incredibly fast is really not that much of an advantage. And I'm like, if we define incredibly fast, I'm going to say, like, let's say you got 100 pages in a novel. The average person probably reads that maybe in an hour and a half. Let's say you read it 10 times faster. 9 minutes. You read like 10 pages a minute. I think that would be, it's more useful than not useful, don't get me wrong. And, especially if you had this from the time that you were like a child, the amount of knowledge that you could accrue by reading books insanely quickly would have cumulative effects, I think. But let's look at the negatives, okay? You write unbelievably slowly. My take on this, honestly, is that this includes typing. That if we're going to treat this as like an evenly weighted scale, I think it has to include typing. Because if it doesn't include typing, then it's the easiest thing in the world. Like, all I do is sign my name. That's the only thing I actually write on like a piece of paper. And texting. This is one, it's tough to balance, right? You could orate everything. You could use speech to text. That carries its own negatives, though. But as soon as you touch the keyboard to hit backspace, you go 10 times slower than the average person. If you read 10 times faster, you have to go 10 times slower. I don't know. Like, to be honest, here's the thing. A lot of these are like, you can have infinite money, but your butt will stink. You're like, well, infinite money is pretty amazing. I don't really want my butt to stink, but on the other hand, like, infinite money, that's amazing. This one really feels like right now, I have absolutely no problems with the speed of my reading or the speed of my writing. I really feel like I don't want to invite like Brendan Fraser bedazzled kind of situations to befall me here, where like I read instantaneously. Because here's the way I see this going. You can read incredibly fast, And now you're in high school, and your teacher goes like, okay, everybody read until page 85. And then you're like, done? And then you just got to sit there while everybody else takes forever to read all the pages, and you're just bored out of your skull. And then it's like, okay, and now write the answers down. And now you're like, and everybody else is done, That sucks. I will not hit the button. We're on the majority. That's what I like to see. Next. Thank you. Will you press the button? You are able to stop time. However, you don't actually stop time, but instead force everyone to stay still. People are still fully conscious while frozen, and you age at an accelerated rate while using your power? Absolutely not. Well, okay, you're right. The question is not would you use the power. The question is, do you have the power? With great power comes great responsibility. So you're really asking me in this case, do I want to take on great responsibility? This is where my logic falls apart. I honestly think I don't even want the option. I don't want the option. I don't want to have that option in my back pocket. It's too tempting. It's like Frodo's one ring. I would use it just because I had access to it. It's like when you don't need potato chips, but you're like, I might as well get some at the grocery store, and then maybe I won't eat them. And then, you find yourself a little peckish, and then you start eating them. And then you're full, but you're still eating them because you get accustomed to that quality of life. Will you press the button? You master a skill you've always wanted to excel at, but no one finds your work of relevance? I think that's like a heavy push the button. I'm just trying to think of the consequences, right? Like, so on the plus column, I master a skill. So let's say like I've always wanted to master, I'm trying to think of like a good example. Say I've always wanted to master like carpentry or something like that, right? But no one cares about my carpentry work. I'm like, that's fine, man. Like what do I care, right? I made an end table. I made a vanity. I made a spice rack. I made a birdhouse. I get pleasure out of it for myself. It's not for anybody else. I think I pushed the button on this one. Top reply. And suddenly hacking wouldn't be any issue. That's fracking true. Okay, next. You are guaranteed a spot in heaven and get everything you want after your very painless death, but St. Peter shows you videotapes of every interaction intimately between your parents and grandparents before entering. As easy as pushing my life, yeah. It's gross. Don't get me wrong. And St. Peter's a freaking he's a weird horn dog. He's a weirdo. It's just very, I don't even know what he gets out of it. This is what's very bizarre about it. But after some uncomfortable moments for the rest of eternity, I'm living life in heaven with the guaranteed spot and everything I want. Okay, Tomo, you can go. Would you push the button? Your cat gets to leave, but you have to do some dead air on stream. Will you press the button? This is the classic, right? Although I think most of the time, when you push the button to win $1 million, one person dies. Instead, it says 10,000. That's like, you're actually like an unbelievable monster. It's $100 per person. If you ever get this question in like real life, I'll pay you $250 not to push the button. Because, I mean, like, that is... $1 million is a lot of money, but it's not enough money to be set for life. When people say it's not a lot of money, I disagree. But it's definitely not enough to, like... I mean, in some parts of the world, you could probably be set for life. But if your idea of being set for life is, like, not working and living a... I guess, you know, if you invested in a dividend fund. What about taxes? I feel like you would not report this. I feel like if you got $1 million from a cosmic button, you would not report it to the IRS. Like, what are you gonna write on your, I don't know what you call it in the U.S. What are you gonna write on your T4 in Canada? God appeared to me and I pushed a button that caused 10,000 people to mysteriously die. Imagine if that would be how I would write this book. Is you push the button, you get $1 million, but then you spend too much of it and the IRS audits you and puts you in jail for tax fraud and seizes all of your money anyway. Anyway, I would not push the button. If you push this button, you're pretty much like a monster. Wow, 49. This is how you can tell this game is played by a lot of children. 49% of people were like, $1 million? That's a lot of Robux. Will you press the button? You can make any picture format moves like .gif, but you're suck at Photoshop. I feel like I would push the button. I already suck at Photoshop. That's never stopped me. Can you imagine any picture format moves like GIF? Dude, can I like look at the Mona Lisa and just turn the Mona Lisa into a GIF? That's a picture format. It's .canvas. Will you press the button? You will become the president of the United States, but you are compared to Obama? I don't even understand the question, but I will not push the button. I would rather be a streamer at my level right now than be the president of the United States. Way too much criticism, way too much responsibility. Like, that's just... I don't want any part of it, quite frankly. You can own the world's most successful business with no stress or out-of-pocket money. But you have to donate 75% of your personal paycheck to the charity of your choice. There's literally like no problem. It's like you could get 1,000 times your current salary, but you'd have to give 3/4 of it away to a charitable cause. Yeah, I would probably hit the button. Who's the 13% that are like, no, it's my money? No way. Will you press the button? You have unlimited money, but you have to become a raw food vegan. Can I tell you, the top comment here says not worth it, asterisk, eats bacon, asterisk. That should give you some indication of how long this website has been around. Well, I will say, on the one hand, unlimited money has an inflationary effect. So in some ways, I might actually undermine the confidence of the currency merely by pressing the button, thus rendering my great store of wealth worthless. However, I'm like, dude, I think this is a button press for me. I don't really want to become a raw food vegan, but like, is unlimited money. And you surely at some point you could use your infinite money to engineer like some raw vegan bacon that tastes almost the same as cooked bacon. Like, this doesn't seem that bad. This seems fine. You hit the button. 52% got a good head on their shoulders. Will you press the button? All of your pockets now lead to a different dimension. If you root around in it for about 7 seconds, you can pull out whatever you want, provided it would fit the width of the pocket. Okay, so I can't like pull out like a car from my pocket. But there is a carnivorous and indestructible interdimensional creature living in the pocket universe which desperately wants to eat your hand and gets close enough to bite you in about 6.5 seconds. No? This really seems like you have a pocket you can't use because a demon will bite your hand off. Because it bites before you grab. I'm going to say that's a heavy I will not. Top reply, get a shock glove. There you go. That'll probably stop the indestructible interdimensional creature. A shock glove. Just wear a cooking mitt. Okay, I haven't even read the prompt yet, but the top reply says I'm 15. Got 45 years ahead of me. So let's see how this goes. You become a mortal god with the very universe at your fingertips until the day you die, but you cannot control free will. No one will ever believe you, and you die at the age of 60. It's so weird that they put in you cannot control free will. Like, am I the only person that looks at this and goes, what crossed their mind? Where they were like, you can't make it, people do whatever you want them to do. Because I know what you're thinking. You can't do that, but you can do everything else except no one will ever believe you. And why do you care if people believe you is, I guess, like the other thing. It doesn't make any sense to me. Like if I was like, I'm a mortal god with the universe at my very fingertips, and someone was like, I don't believe you, and I snapped my fingers and there was like a Boeing 787 right in front of them, and they're like, yeah, that could have just landed, and then I like snapped my fingers again and it turned into like a big like pink elephant. They're like, so? Like, whatever. Like, I don't care if you believe me, I can do whatever. Just weird. You die at the age of 60? I don't know. I would probably still hit the button. That seems like a pretty good upside, and very little. I mean, dying at 60 is young. Don't get me wrong. But there is also like baked in here I hope I live longer than 60. I'm not one of those people that's like, I think I'm going to be dead at 40. You never know what's going to happen though. This might be like a 20-year plus for me. I don't know. I hope not. I hope it's like a 40-year penalty, but which reminds me, dude, I was looking, did you know so this is a story nobody cares about. I'm so sorry that it's like tangentially related to economics. Did you know that one of the executives of Enron was named Lou Pai, and he screwed up his whole freaking life by cheating on his wife with a prostitute and getting her pregnant. And then apparently the way that he would hide that he was having an affair was on his way home from the affair, he would go to a gas station and then just like squirt some gasoline on himself. So I guess when he got home instead, his wife would be like, what's that smell? And he would just be like, oh, just gas. I guess it's just gasoline. But anyway, check this out, all right? So, in the divorce settlement, because she found out, he had to liquidate all of his Enron stock in order to pay for the settlement. It was like $280 million of stock. He had to give her, 140 or whatever. And then like 2 weeks later, it came out that all the books of Enron were cooked. And the stock went from $90 a share to zero. Is actually the luckiest man on planet Earth. Like, literally blew up his whole life accidentally and came out $140 million ahead of where he should have been. Anyway, long story short, moving on. Just an interesting story. Will you press the button? Press the button and gain the ability to hop through fictions and control your character. How strong, effective you are in the reality, but you can only leave after a season's worth of time. Seems like a zero downside option. And as long as you pick a good season, who cares? This is an extremely anime question, no doubt about it. Oh, God. Your favorite fictional character will be real and will love you endlessly, but they will die after being in a relationship with you for 1 year. I will not push the button. It's weird. It's like a heavy, weird energy coming off of that. I don't wish to interact further with the question. Will you press the button? You will get everything for free, but everyone thinks you stole it. This seems like another heavy no, assuming that everybody means the police and the jury or the judge. Yeah, I think you would just... Like Chris Stevenson left a comment that said, no proof, no conviction. Yeah, but it's the button. The button says everyone thinks you stole it. So, like, if the judge or the jury thought you stole it, you would get convicted. It just doesn't make any sense. So, I think we got to go heavy no on this. 58% say yes. All right. Just probably skip this one. Can I just hit refresh rather than hit the button? You know, I choose not to hit the button just because I'm opting out of the button press. That's not a no to the button. It's an I choose not to. You become a genius and solve many world problems, but you are damned to be morbidly obese until your death. You are damned. Honestly, I feel like I'd push the button. I'm not like a saint, but I guess I would trade some degree of my physical health for legacy and adoration from the public. I think that's a net good for society that also gives me some selfish gain. Will you press the button? You invent the funniest joke in the world and it always makes you laugh, but you can never tell it to anybody else. This is already what my life is like. I think of jokes all the time that make me chuckle, and I'm like, this is the funniest thing I've ever heard in my life. I tell it to other people. They don't not laugh. They just talk over the punchline. So, like, I would hit the button here easily. Why wouldn't you hit, like, there's no downside. Like 45% of people are like, I wouldn't even want to know the funniest joke. That's too much power. Will you press the button? You get $20,000 a month for the rest of your life, but your worst enemy gets twice as much? Yes, I would press the button. It's the easiest button of all time. Also, this is just what Twitch is like. I still can't believe that 19% of people are like, no. Really? Like, it's pure spite? You're like, I hate them so much. I would rather not get an extra $250,000 a year just to see them, you know. If you're offended by that, geez, don't look up, like, the salaries of people that own companies and stuff like that and some of the messed up stuff they've done. It doesn't say extra. It's implied that it's extra. Like if you're already getting, let's say, $100,000 a month, I don't think the implication is it would reduce your take by 80%. Also, what percentage of people using this website, let's be realistic, are making more than $20,000 a month? Come on, man. Maybe like 6 TikTokers. That's it. Let me in. Okay, this is a classic. You get $1 million, but someone somewhere will die. I will admit, it's a much more tempting button press. I mean, the difference between this one and 10,000 people getting killed. I don't judge you too much if you hit the button, right, on this one, because I'm still thinking about it. I'm like running it through in my head. I don't think I could bring myself to like hit the button. And people will say like, oh, but like the way, like your lifestyle indirectly causes people to like die, through the chain of the economics of things that happen, et cetera, and people are dying all the time no matter what. But I almost see it like, I see it like the difference between like eating meat and like shooting like a pet, if that makes sense. Like I will eat meat, but like if you gave me a gun and were like shoot that cow in the head, I would be like, nah, I'm okay. I'll just have a salad. That's where I'm at that line. Is it after tax? There you exactly. Now you gotta ask. Next, please. They need to work on their jQuery, dude. Waiting for willyoupressthebutton.com. Did we take the website down? You've used up all of your free. Press the button. Please insert your credit card number to press more buttons. Oh, it's working again. Dude, there's so many like, and I don't know, it's not sad, I guess. But it's just like, you remember what it was like to be 12. You and the person of your dreams fall in love, but you both die young together. I'm already like married, dude. I don't think my wife will be too happy with either of the possible outcomes from pushing the button here. Either I'm out or we both die young, and I'm already like 32, so I'm pretty sure they're going to come to collect pretty soon. I choose not to hit the button. Dude, the website is having some serious troubles though. It's not handling things well. Yeah, chat, can you get off the website? They only have 12 sockets. Chat, get off the site. Mom, don't pick up the freaking phone. I'm trying to use my modem. Hold on. Maybe I could refresh. Perhaps that will help. Man, it's dead. The site is dead. You can still hear me, so like the stream's not dead. Twitter still works. Okay. WillYouPressTheButton.com. It's actually like the website is gone. Well, not gone. It's just not loading. But okay, Will You Press the Button website? Maybe there's a second one. buttonboo.com. Will you press the button? The first one I got. You get to date a perfect person, but they are your same gender. What? That's crazy, man. This website seems a little bit more like ramshackle, but I'm willing to give it a try, and we'll see if we'll see how it is. Is it working? It's a little slow, but that's okay. Next button. Okay, let me get the screen region set up. This is so much more. I don't know. I made fun of the other one, but now I'm like, this one is almost, it's goofy in its own way. Okay, just give me a sec to get the screen region set up here. This is so good. Okay, hold on. Press the button. You guys are gonna laugh when you see this next one, because it's like the classic, like, well, maybe it's not quite as bad as, like, you know, would you smell a durian for $1 quadrillion? But it's like, it's pretty close. I'm not good at screen regions. You got to give me a second here. Something like that. This is how the website looks, by the way. If you're wondering why it's all centered at the top of the screen, this is just like how it looks on the browser. Will you press the button? You can live forever, but you can only eat mashed potatoes. Actually, if you just excuse me, I'm going to turn the screen region off temporarily just to see what the results screen looks like. Okay, it looks fine. Anyway, I pushed the button. Why wouldn't you do that? Dude, eating mashed potatoes is sick. More people did not press than pressed. That's scary. Next button, please. You get to be a Harry Potter person. Hermione, Ron, or Harry Potter. But you will always be the same person. So this is a rare one. I don't think the downside is that bad, that when you transform into somebody else, you stay as them forever. But I don't think the upside is very good. I'm content where I stand. I don't really want to be like Ron Weasley. I also feel like it kind of sucks to be Harry Potter. Like, yeah, he like, I mean, I'm not spoiling anything. I haven't seen the movies or read all the books, but I'm like, you know, he's a wizard, yeah, but doesn't, like, his friends die and he's in like a freaking war and stuff like that, and he has to go toe-to-toe with he who shall not be named. It sounds like it's awesome to read about, but it's like not so great to be a part of it. So no, I will not push the button. 199 people want to be Harry Potter. You control the endings of all movies, but you have to go to the movies without food. That's tough, man. It's tough to press the button any faster than I'm going to press it. I could watch a movie without food. We could just go get dinner afterwards. Controlling the endings would be hilarious. You imagine you go see Twilight and then you have it end like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood? I think that would be a good time. You'll excuse me, Tomo, if you'd like to re-enter the room. When you put it that way, it's cool. Yeah, plus think about how much money you'll save on popcorn, man. Right, Tomo? Save all that popcorn money. Yeah, if only you could control TV shows, and then you could fix Game of Thrones, you know? Next button. You get free alcohol, but it's only gin and tonic. Again, literally no downside. It doesn't say you can only drink gin and tonic. It just says you only get free gin and tonic. That's not so bad. I mean, that's a heavy win. 110 did not press. No, thank you. If I can't have Bud Light Lime, I don't want it. If you want to become a kid, you will, or you want to be adult, you will. But every time you're in public, you fart. It's a very confusing question because I already want to be an adult, and I am, and I also fart almost every time I'm in public. So I feel like at some point in the past, maybe I already pressed this button, so I'm going to push it anyway, because I feel like just not pushing it would be dishonest. You know everything, but you die of constipation in 1 month. I'm going to go ahead and say I'm probably not going to hit the button on this one. That's a pretty heavy downside. Knowing everything, there's a lot of advantages there for sure. Dying in 30 days is pretty much a non-starter for me. I'm not going to hit the button, man. Come on. 2 out of 7 people were like, yeah, that sounds fair. And you don't just die like painless. You die of constipation. Which I'm pretty sure means if you're going to die in a month of constipation, it's going to start as soon as you press the button. Like you just enjoyed your last poop. And it's only going to start to feel worse over time. You can get married to any of your fictional crushes, and they will love you forever. But they are very protective and possessive. They get really mad when anybody shows any romantic interest in you. Probably just, no thank you. I knew it was going to be like 70% yes, because I just thought about the kind of person that would look at this question and be on this website in the first place, and I was like, pretty sure it's going to be a super majority. I have no idea what that even means. At all. So we're going to move on. Who is this? Did Blair Woods write this question? Who is Blair Woods? Reeve Blair Woods will be remembered for his love of working for his ratepayers. Grassland Reeve Blair Woods passed away on Sunday, November 7th. He spent more than 30 years on a municipal council and the last 20 years as Reeve. You know what? F in chat for Blair Woods. I'm hitting that button. Make him handsome. Stay golden, pony boy. Your favorite character is only in a few scenes of a movie. When he or she is in the scene, it's incredibly emotional and intense. This question is basically, do you like The Silence of the Lambs? Hannibal Lecter has like 8.5 minutes of screen time, but he steals the show every single time they show him. So I'm going to hit the button on that. No doubt about it. The upside and the downside are in the wrong spot. Yeah, no, you're right. That's true. You can go on a date with anyone you want, including celebrities. It's always fictional characters. Every single one is like, you get married to anyone you want, including cartoons. but they are only going to cook you chicken tenders 3 times a week. Again, any question that relates to like dating, I think I say no to just on principle.